Welcome to your deep dive. Today, we're going to be diving into the law of one, which is a fascinating concept that explores the interconnectedness of everything in the universe.
Right.
You've given us some really intriguing excerpts from Living the Law of One and the Rack Contact to work with.
Yeah, both offer unique perspectives on this complex philosophy.
So let's get right to it.
Okay.
The idea of the universe as a classroom really jumped out at me. What are your thoughts on that?
It's a powerful analogy.
Yeah.
The confederation of planets, the source of the law of one, suggests that we're all here to learn and grow, and that every experience, every interaction is an opportunity for spiritual evolution.
Well, so even those frustrating coworkers or that traffic jam that makes you late are part of the lesson plan?
Precisely.
Okay.
Instead of seeing these things as random occurrences or obstacles, we can choose to view them as challenges designed to help us evolve.
Okay. I can see how reframing things like that could be really helpful.
Yeah. Especially when dealing with those everyday annoyances.
It's a shifting perspective. It's about recognizing that we're not just passive observers in this universe, but active participants in a grand cosmic experiment.
And the concept of the creator desiring to know itself through this experiment is pretty mind-blowing.
It is.
Yeah.
It suggests that everything in the universe, from the smallest particle to the largest galaxy, is a manifestation of the creator seeking to understand its own nature.
And that love is the driving force behind this whole process.
Love is the creative principle, energy that binds everything together.
That's beautiful, but also a bit abstract. How does that love actually play out in our everyday lives?
It's about recognizing the interconnectedness of all things.
Okay.
It's about choosing compassion over judgment.
Right.
Forgiveness over resentment. And unity over separation.
So the law of one is more than just a philosophy, it's a way of life.
Absolutely.
It's about making choices that reflect those core principles of love and unity.
Okay.
Not just in our thoughts, but in our actions as well.
That brings us to the idea of service to others versus service to self, right?
Yes.
The sources you provided delve into some pretty intense examples to illustrate this concept.
The concept of polarity is central to the law of one.
Okay.
We have the choice to align ourselves with either service to others, a positive path, or service to self, a negative path.
Okay.
But it's important to remember that these terms aren't about moral judgments of good and evil.
Okay.
It's more about the underlying motivation behind our actions.
But how do we know which path we're on?
Right.
It seems like even acts that appear selfless on the surface could be driven by ego.
It's about examining our intentions.
Okay.
The author of Living the Law of One offers a compelling example.
Okay.
She initially disliked her boss, but made a conscious choice to love him.
Okay.
Over time, that choice led to a genuine affection.
Okay.
This isn't about suppressing genuine feelings, but about actively choosing a more compassionate perspective.
So it's not about denying our feelings.
Exactly.
But about transforming them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that transformation is what fuels our spiritual evolution.
The sources use some pretty controversial figures like Adolf Hitler and Idi Amin to illustrate this concept. What was your take on that?
The Confederation's assessment of Hitler and Amin highlights that it's not about the outward actions themselves, but the underlying motivation. Hitler, despite his horrific acts, wasn't considered fully aligned with service to self, while Amin, who committed equally horrific atrocities, had the potential to be.
So someone could be a tyrant but still be on the positive path if their intentions are ultimately about unity and love. It's hard to wrap my head around that.
That's why discerning our own path requires constant self-reflection and honesty about our motives. It's a journey of self-discovery. We all make mistakes. And that's okay. It's about learning from those mistakes and continually striving to make choices that are aligned with our highest good and the good of others.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a lot to think about. So the law of one suggests that everything we do, every choice we make is pushing us in one direction or the other. And those choices have a ripple effect, not just on our individual lives, but on the collective consciousness as well.
Right.
Wow, that's a lot of responsibility.
It is.
Yeah.
But it's also empowering.
Okay.
It means we have the power to shape our own reality and contribute to a more loving and harmonious world.
So how do we harness that power?
Yeah.
What tools does the Law of One give us for making those positive choices?
One of the key concepts is understanding our energy body and how it influences our thoughts, emotions, and actions. The sources you provided talk a lot about the 7 chakras.
Right, those energy centers that correspond to different aspects of our being.
Exactly.
Okay.
And by understanding how these chakras work, we can begin to identify blockages and cultivate a more balanced flow of energy, which is essential for spiritual growth and positive manifestation.
So it's not just about making good choices.
Yeah.
It's about working with our energy to create a foundation for those choices to take root.
Precisely.
Okay.
The Law of One offers a holistic approach to spiritual evolution.
Let's dive into these chakras.
Okay.
We've talked about this universe as a classroom and the paths of service to self and others.
Yeah.
How do these energy centers fit into the picture?
Think of them as filters or lenses through which we experience the world.
Okay.
They influence how we perceive ourselves,
Right.
how we interact with others, and how we process our experiences.
So each chakra has a specific role to play.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And understanding their functions can help us unlock our potential and navigate this grand classroom of the universe more effectively.
Let's start with the first one.
Okay.
The red ray.
Yeah.
What's its deal?
The red ray,
Okay.
also known as the root chakra, is all about our foundation.
Okay.
It governs our survival instincts, our sense of security, and our connection to the physical world.
Okay.
It's the grounding force that allows us to feel safe and stable in our bodies.
Okay, so it's about our basic needs and primal urges.
Yeah.
But how does that tie into the concept of the universe as a classroom?
It's about understanding and accepting our physical nature as part of our spiritual journey.
Okay.
Living the Law of One emphasizes that the red ray is also about our connection to the Earth's energy, which is vital for our vitality and well-being.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
We're not just souls floating around. They were embodied beings with physical needs.
Exactly.
And honoring those needs is an important part of our spiritual evolution. Okay. The author even connects the red ray to our sexuality,
emphasizing that it can be a powerful force for either service to self or service to others.
It's interesting to think of sexuality as part of our spiritual development.
Yeah.
We often view those things as separate.
The Law of One suggests that everything is interconnected.
Right.
Even our physical desires can be used to fuel our spiritual growth.
Okay.
But it all comes back to those choices we were talking about.
Right.
Are we using our sexuality to control and dominate? Or are we approaching it with reverence and love?
That raises a lot of interesting questions about relationships.
Yeah.
Speaking of relationships, I noticed the next chakra up, the orange ray, is all about that.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about it?
The orange ray, or sacral chakra, is associated with our emotions, creativity, and relationships.
Okay.
It's the center of our personal power
Yeah.
and our ability to create and experience pleasure.
It sounds like this chakra is about really engaging with life on an emotional level.
It is. But as with any chakra, there can be blockages or distortions that prevent us from experiencing the full potential of the orange ray.
And those blockages can manifest in our relationships, right? The author of Living the Law of One gives some pretty powerful examples of how this can play out.
She talks about date rape, which is an extreme example of an orange ray blockage. It's about seeking power and control over another person's energy.
Okay.
But she also highlights more subtle forms of manipulation that can occur in relationships.
Like trying to guilt someone into doing something they don't want to do.
Exactly.
Or being overly possessive.
Exactly. Those are examples of the orange ray being out of balance.
Right.
It's about recognizing those parries within ourselves and choosing to interact with others in a more authentic and respectful way.
So a healthy orange ray is about embracing our own power, but also respecting the power of others.
Yeah.
It's about creating balanced and empowering relationships where both people feel seen and heard.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay.
And this brings us to the next chakra, the yellow ray, which is often seen as the powerhouse of the energy system.
This one seems particularly relevant in today's world where everyone's striving for success and achievement.
It is.
Yeah.
The yellow ray, or solar plexus chakra, is associated with our willpower, self-esteem, and sense of personal identity.
Okay.
It's the energy center that allows us to take action, manifest our desires, and achieve our goals.
It sounds like the yellow ray is all about taking charge of our lives.
Yes.
Okay.
But it's important to remember that, like all chakras, it needs to be balanced.
Okay.
An overactive yellow ray can lead to egotism,
Right.
control issues, and a relentless pursuit of power.
And the author of Living the Law of One uses her own personal experiences with marriage to illustrate these challenges, right?
Right. She describes her first marriage, which was driven by ambition and a desire for social status, as a classic example of a yellow ray distortion.
Okay.
It was all about external validation rather than genuine love and connection.
And that marriage eventually ended in divorce, right?
It did.
Okay.
But her second marriage, which she describes as being based on mutual respect and a shared desire for growth, has lasted for over 20 years.
So the yellow ray is about finding that balance between our personal ambitions and our commitment to service to others.
Yeah.
It's about using our power to create something positive in the world.
Yeah.
While also honoring the needs of others.
Yes.
Okay?
And that's a lesson we all need to learn,
right,
both individually and collectively.
This has been a really insightful exploration of the first 3 chakras, but there's so much more to unpack.
Yeah.
We've got 4 more chakras to dive into and a whole universe of concepts to explore.
I'm excited to continue the journey.
Me too.
The journey through the chakras really is fascinating. It's like we're uncovering a map of our inner landscape.
And we've only just begun. I'm curious to see how the remaining chakras tie into the big picture of the Law of One. It feels like we're building towards something like there's a bridge between the personal work we do with these energy centers and the larger concept of spiritual evolution.
There definitely is. The Confederation emphasizes that opening the heart chakra, the green ray, is key to accessing those higher levels of consciousness. It's like the bridge between our lower, more instinctual drives and our higher spiritual aspirations.
So it's about integrating the lessons of the first 3 chakras and using that energy to fuel our heart-centered growth.
Exactly. The green ray is about love, compassion, empathy, and forgiveness. It's about connecting to the inherent goodness in ourselves and others, even those we might perceive as enemies.
I can see how that ties into the concept of service to others. It seems like you can't really be of service in a meaningful way unless your heart is truly open.
That's a great insight. The Confederation suggests that when our hearts are open, we become more receptive to the guidance of our higher selves and the wisdom of the universe.
It's like we're tuning into a different frequency, one that's based on love and unity rather than fear and separation. But practically speaking, how do we open our hearts? It seems like there's a lot of pain and resentment that can block that energy.
Living the Law of One talks about the importance of forgiveness in clearing the heart chakra. And the author emphasizes that forgiveness isn't about condoning harmful actions. It's about releasing the energetic ties that bind us to past hurts and freeing ourselves from the cycle of resentment.
That sounds a lot easier said than done.
It definitely takes conscious effort, but the rewards are immense. When we forgive, we create space for love and compassion to flow through us. And that love has a ripple effect not just on our own lives, but on the lives of those around us.
It's like we become a source of healing energy for ourselves and others. I can see how that connects to the concept of work and consciousness, which the sources talk about quite a bit.
Right. The Confederation suggests that practices like meditation, prayer, and journaling can help us cultivate that heart-centered awareness and accelerate our spiritual growth. They even mention specific techniques, like repeating a mantra in transcendental meditation or focusing on a candle flame in Vipassana meditation.
It's interesting how they tie those practices to the concept of positive polarization. They're not just about relaxation or stress relief. They're about actively choosing to align ourselves with the energy of love and unity.
It's about strengthening our connection to that power source, as they call it. And that power source is the energy of the Creator, which is love.
Okay, so we've got this foundational work with the red, orange, and yellow rays. Then we open our hearts with the green ray. What's next on this journey through the chakras?
Next up is the blue ray, or the throat chakra. This is all about communication and self-expression. It governs our ability to speak our truth authentically and to listen with an open heart.
That makes sense. If the green ray is about cultivating love and compassion, the blue ray is about expressing those qualities in the world.
Exactly. And the Confederation emphasizes the power of sincerity in speech. They suggest that our words carry energy, and when spoken with genuine intention, they can have a profound impact.
That reminds me of the saying, words have power.
It's true. And the blue ray is about learning to wield that power responsibly. It's about using our voices to uplift, inspire, and create positive change.
So it's not just about what we say, but how we say it, our tone, our intention, the energy behind our words?
Exactly. And it's also about being mindful of the words we choose to receive. The Confederation emphasizes the importance of active listening, which is about truly hearing and understanding the perspectives of others, even if we don't agree with them.
Active listening seems crucial for creating a more harmonious and understanding world, especially in today's climate where it feels like everyone's talking but no one's really listening.
It's a vital skill.
Yeah.
And it's a practice. It takes effort to quiet our own internal dialogue and truly focus on what the other person is saying, not just waiting for our turn to speak.
Okay, so we've got the foundation, the heart communication. What's next?
The indigo ray, or third eye chakra, is next. This is the center of intuition, wisdom, and spiritual insight. It's about connecting to our inner knowing and trusting the guidance we receive from within.
It sounds like we're moving into some pretty deep territory here.
We are. The indigo ray is often associated with psychic abilities, but is much more than that. It's about developing our intuitive faculties and accessing a deeper level of understanding.
So it's about trusting our gut instincts, those flashes of insight that seem to come from nowhere?
Exactly. And the Confederation emphasizes the importance of faith in this context. But they're not talking about blind faith or dogma. It's about trusting in the inherent goodness of the universe and the unfolding of our spiritual path, even when we can't see the bigger picture.
It's about having faith in the process, even when things get messy or confusing.
Yes, and it's about recognizing that we're not alone in this journey. We have guidance and support from our higher selves, our spirit guides, and the universal consciousness.
That's comforting. It seems like we need a lot of faith to navigate this universe as a classroom, especially when we're dealing with concepts like polarity and service to self versus service to others.
It's true. And that brings us to the final chakra, the violet ray or crown chakra. This is the point of connection to the divine, the center of our spiritual consciousness.
It sounds like the culmination of all the work we've done with the other chakras.
It is. The violet ray represents unity consciousness, a state of being where we transcend the limitations of the ego and experience oneness with all creation.
Wow, that's pretty profound.
It is. And it's something we can all aspire to experience through dedicated work and consciousness. It's not about achieving some kind of final destination. It's about the journey itself, the ongoing process of spiritual evolution.
So we've traveled up through the chakras from our roots to the crown of our heads, and we've talked about some pretty heady concepts. The universe as a classroom, the choice between service to self and others, the importance of work in consciousness. It feels like there's a lot of personal responsibility woven into the Law of One.
There is, but there's also a sense of liberation. The Law of One suggests that we have the power to shape our own reality, to choose our path, and to co-create a more loving and harmonious world.
It's both empowering and daunting at the same time.
I agree. But it's important to remember that we're not alone in this. We have guidance and support from the universe, from our higher selves, and from each other.
And the Raw Contact even mentions wanderers' souls from higher densities who incarnate on Earth to help with the transition to fourth density.
That's right. And those wanderers often feel a strong sense of purpose and a deep yearning for spiritual truth. They may also feel like they don't quite belong here, like they're from a different planet.
So if someone's listening to this and feeling like they resonate with these concepts, they might be a wanderer.
It's possible. And the Raw Contact offers a lot of guidance for wanderers, encouraging them to remember their mission and to use their unique gifts to help humanity evolve.
That's a beautiful concept. It makes me think of all the people out there who are working tirelessly to make the world a better place. They may not even realize they're wanderers, but they're living out that mission of service to others in such a powerful way.
Absolutely. And even if we don't identify as wanderers, we can all choose to embody that spirit of service and contribute to the positive evolution of consciousness.
So we've explored the chakras, the concept of polarity, work, and consciousness, even wanderers. It's a lot to absorb. What else can we glean from these sources to help us on our journey with the Law of One?
One concept that stood out to me, especially in the Raw Contact, is the idea of harvest.
Oh, right. That's how the Confederation describes the process of transitioning from one density to another.
Exactly. And they suggest that Earth is currently in a period of transition moving from third density to fourth density.
Which might explain why things feel so chaotic and unpredictable right now.
It's a time of intense catalyst designed to push us towards making a choice.
A choice between service to self or service to others.
Yes. And that choice will determine our destiny, whether we graduate to fourth density or repeat third density.
Okay, so what does fourth density even look like? Paint me a picture.
Well, according to Ron, it's a density of love and understanding.
Yeah.
Our thoughts and emotions manifest much more quickly, so we need to be even more mindful of our inner state.
So we're talking about a reality where our thoughts and feelings directly shape our experience.
Exactly. And there's a separation of polarities in fourth density. Positively oriented entities will group together, and negatively oriented entities will do the same.
So it's not like we're all going to magically ascend to some blissful utopia where everyone's holding hands and singing Kumbaya.
No, it's about aligning ourselves with the frequency that resonates with our soul's purpose. If we've chosen the path of service to others, we'll be surrounded by others who share that vibration, and that will accelerate our growth and evolution. But if we've chosen service to self, well, those consequences will be amplified as well.
It's like we're creating our own heaven or hell based on the choices we make.
It's a powerful concept. And it highlights the importance of understanding the law of one and applying these principles in our lives now so we can create a more harmonious and fulfilling future, both for ourselves and for the collective.
It seems like the Ra contact offers some pretty specific guidance on how to navigate this transition to fourth density.
It does. Ra emphasizes the importance of working with our energy centers, those 7 chakras we've been discussing.
So it's not just about understanding these concepts intellectually. It's about putting them into practice through energy work and conscious living.
Exactly. The Ra contact provides a wealth of information about each chakra, their functions, their distortions, and how to balance them.
It's like a roadmap for working with our energy system and preparing for the harvest.
It is. And Ra also emphasizes the importance of understanding and accepting all aspects of ourselves.
The light and the shadow.
Yes. Yeah. It's about integrating all the pieces of who we are and recognizing that even our so-called negative qualities can be used for growth and learning.
That's a powerful message. It seems like the law of one is all about embracing the fullness of our being, both individually and collectively. It's about recognizing our interconnectedness and choosing to co-create a more loving and harmonious reality.
It is. And while there's much more to explore and discover, the core message is one of hope and empowerment. We have the power to choose our path and shape our destiny.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. We've explored the universe as a classroom, the choice between service to self and others, the importance of working with our energy centers, the concept of harvest, and even the possibility of wanderers walking among us. What a journey.
It's been fascinating. And this is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the law of one. There are layers upon layers to uncover and integrate.
But what about the listener who's new to all this? What's the one key takeaway you'd want them to walk away with?
The law of one is a call to awaken to our true nature as spiritual beings having a human experience. It's about recognizing that we are all interconnected, that love is the fundamental force of the universe, and that we have the power to choose our path and create a more harmonious and fulfilling reality.
That's beautifully put.
Yeah.
So what resonates most with you today? What new insights are you taking away from this exploration? Remember, the journey of self-discovery doesn't end here. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep choosing love. It really is a journey, isn't it? And I have to admit, the more we delve into these concepts, the more questions I have.
That's the beauty of the law of one. It's not a set of rigid rules or dogma, but a framework for exploration and discovery.
Yeah, we've talked about the universe as a classroom service to others and the importance of working with our energy centers. We've even touched on the idea of harvest and the transition to fourth density. But there's still so much to unpack.
There is. And I think one of the most important things to remember is that this journey is a personal one. There's no right or wrong way to do it.
So it's not about achieving some kind of spiritual perfection or following a prescribed set of steps.
Not at all. It's about finding what resonates with you, experimenting with different practices, and following your own unique path.
That's reassuring because I think a lot of people, myself included, can get caught up in comparing themselves to others or feeling like they're not doing it right.
It's a common trap. But the law of one encourages us to let go of judgment and embrace the diversity of experience. We're all at different stages of our spiritual evolution, and that's okay.
So it's about focusing on our own growth and trusting that we're exactly where we need to be.
Exactly. And it's about recognizing that we're all in this together. We're all part of the same web of consciousness, supporting and learning from each other.
That brings me back to the idea of the creator seeking to know itself through this grand cosmic experiment. It's like we're all individual expressions of the creator exploring different facets of existence.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And I think that's the ultimate goal of the law of one, to help us remember our true nature as divine beings and to live in alignment with that truth.
So it's not just about personal growth, it's about contributing to the evolution of consciousness as a whole.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's where the concept of service to others comes in. It's about recognizing that our actions have a ripple effect, that we're all interconnected, and that by choosing love and compassion, we can make a difference in the world.
So what does that look like in practice? How can we apply these principles in our everyday lives?
It starts with those small everyday choices, choosing kindness over judgment, forgiveness over resentment, empathy over apathy.
It's about those moments when we're faced with the choice between acting from our ego or acting from our heart.
And those choices add up. They create a momentum that shifts our vibration and influences the collective consciousness.
It's like we're all casting votes with every thought, word, and action.
And those votes determine the kind of reality we create.
So even seemingly insignificant acts of kindness can contribute to a more loving and harmonious world.
Absolutely. And the more we align ourselves with that vibration of love, the more we become beacons of light, radiating that energy outwards.
It's like those ripples in a pond expanding outwards and touching everything in their path.
Exactly. And I think that's the ultimate message of the Law of One, that we have the power to create a more beautiful and compassionate world, one choice at a time.
What a powerful and hopeful message. It's been an incredible journey exploring these concepts with you. I feel like I've gained a deeper understanding of the Law of One, but also a renewed sense of purpose and possibility.
I feel the same way. And I'm excited to continue this exploration to see how these teachings unfold in my own life and in the world around us.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the Law of One, what's the one question you'd leave the listener with? What's something for them to ponder as they continue their own journey?
What choices can you make today, right now, that will bring you closer to alignment with your highest self and contribute to a more loving and harmonious world?
That's a great question. And remember, the journey of self-discovery doesn't end here. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep choosing love in